little badass, book badass. You little badass, you little badass, book club badass. Welcome to the show.
So we're here. We're Bad Ass Book Club Podcast, and
Yes.
we're going to talk about some
Everything.
books.
Yeah, outer
and
space.
everything else.
Everything under the sun. Yep, pretty much. Thank you for joining us today. How are you today, Ashley?
I'm doing great. I'm drinking
Mm.
yerba mate,
Mm.
which is caffeine
Yeah,
in tea form.
caffeine.
in tea form.
I'm into it. Thanks for my
Um,
booch today.
Yeah,
My booch, that is.
interesting.
Booch, not hooch. I have to be a little articulate.
Everything that you say is a T-shirt. Booch, not hooch. For my next business venture.
Okay, you just signed me up, babe. Which reminds me, have you seen the new shirts on our Babs merch at primful.me?
I have. Have you? I'm speaking to the audience in case you're not watching. If you haven't, go check them out because holy smokes.
We got some little baddies for the upcoming school year too. And little baddies, what kind of books do they love?
Picture books.
Picture books. So check that out. Super fun. It was fun to make and to think about.
So whether you like it hard, soft, or audio,
Yeah. Read to me.
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
The glasses made me think about it. We got some water bottles because it's time. Rep your reading. And what was it? Something with your shelf. Don't wreck your shelf. Don't wreck your shelf? Yeah. I don't know. Something like that.
You'll see it when you go to buy.
Yes. And mostly, like we said, it's for you to enjoy. So we kept the prices as low as we could go.
They were shockingly low.
So have fun, you guys. Enjoy that. And we'll keep it coming.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's,
Okay. Innuendo. So I think that we should address the elephant in the room.
Yes. Where is it?
It's your hat.
Oh my, what do you mean? What hat? Please describe for those who are listening and not viewing.
In classic trucker hat form, all black with white script. Well, it's like a nice bold. What does it say? Can you give us a little?
Yeah.
Give us a little.
So
Scott.
it doesn't say can you.
No.
But take me higher. Ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom, ba-ba.
If you're not familiar,
Yeah, Creed, you guys. They came to our local venue and they blew me away. Okay, I've never seen such sexy, in shape older men in my life.
I was quite surprised with the video and the images that you sent my way. Silver foxes all around.
Yeah.
I also noticed just now your shirt
Yeah,
because you're in full concert garb.
Okay, so I had to be. It's so fun. Okay, so I'm wearing a mammoth shirt, and it's kind of a fun story. So I took my dad impromptu outing for his birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bruce. And it was really, I mean, I grew up on a little bit of Creed, and I'll never forget getting the album from a friend who is like a sister and the bass player of our band growing up. And she got it for me for Christmas, and it was the classic one with that song on it. And I opened it up and I was so excited because I had heard it on the radio and I was like, this is great, solid 90s rock, but it's got a little heavy edge to it, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. And she was like, yeah, I'm not really into them, but I knew you wanted it. Which, two things, so sweet and hilarious.
Thanks for the compliment.
Yeah,
and the gift.
It was amazing. Like, I honestly I didn't know a lot of people, I would say, who were really into them as much as I was at the time.
Aren't they
But-
like originally a Christian rock band?
I mean, it seemed like there were some undertones with that.
Yeah.
But so, like, for me growing up, though, listening to, like, Pearl Jam, you know, and Bush
Yes.
and, you know, Soundgarden, like, I hate to say it, I wasn't listening to the lyrics.
No,
I was
for
just
sure,
like,
for sure.
I was into those heavy guitar strikes, you know, and the drums just sounded so crispy. Like the recordings of those times, early
Yeah.
2000s, late 90s, rad to me.
I think like in that regard, it doesn't get any better than like Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
But like anyone who's trying to sound or happens to sound kind of like him, I'm all for.
And I think that's what was kind of cool is like Creed, I realized in those moments that they really do have their own sound.
Yes.
But it's been like 30 years that they've been playing.
Right.
And that album specifically, okay, so it was fun. As I was saying, we were watching the show and I was like, oh, it's all the songs off of that album that I love. And then I thought back to their promotion and it was like Return to Tour 99. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't even know that they were going to play all the good stuff.
Well, perfect.
Yeah. And Scott, the lead singer, his birthday was this last week, actually.
Okay, shout out to the Leos out there, your dad and Scott.
Happy birthday, Leos. I'm surrounded by Leos. I love you guys. I love you all. Yeah. But it was amazing. It was such a good time. And, my t-shirt is Mammoth. They were the opener. And it was kind of a shame because only a third of the crowd was there at the time. Fun story, though. Mammoth is basically Wolfgang Van Halen's dream project.
Okay, now I'm listening.
So Eddie's son, and it's really cool because his mom's a cook too. Like she's super famous, Valerie. You know from the cooking channel. Okay, well look into it. Because she's just rad too, and her recipes are great. And she just seems so fun and wholesome and everything.
What color is her hair?
Like darkish brown, kind of brunettish.
I think I do know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And most of probably our audience knows who that is too.
Okay.
And she has talked about her son over the years, and she's talked about Eddie, obviously.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, one of the most incredible musicians, unparalleled, unmatched, right?
Not to brag, but Sammy Hagar put on a really nice in memoriam to Eddie when he performed at Stagecoach in May, and I did witness.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
Yeah, but it was honestly, it was tugging at the heartstrings. Yeah. It was kind of sad. But anyway, go on.
Well, he had certain habits, and he didn't want to stop some of those habits.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that stuff can catch up to you,
Sure.
But his son, Wolfgang, you could tell, he just grew up with it. So he's a bigger dude, and his presence on stage, he doesn't move like his dad. He doesn't really sound like his dad, but he's got incredible pipes, and this fool can play. I went through and listened to all of the Mammoth albums afterwards, and come to find out, he wrote all the parts and recorded all the parts too.
Okay.
And solid drumming, but he is so articulate, just like how his dad was. The hammer-ons, we're turning this into a music podcast, obviously.
I was going to wait for a good interjection time to be and that's Ashley and Katie with music's best.
VH1.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Oh,
No.
Pop-up video. Anyways, now I know what I'm listening to. I'm very intrigued. I had no idea about any of that, and that's exciting to know.
So rad. And for me, being around rock and roll is great. And I will say this, though. I thought that Mammoth's performance, the band that he had put together, sounded better live, and their performance was wicked high. The guitarist, the bass player, the drummer was solid. He kind of keeps his head down, but he swings his arms. This is a promo apparently for Mammoth, but elevated him. The band he chose to play with him elevated the music better than album. So if you get a chance to see them, they're actually coming to Agua Caliente on Halloween, but Halloween's kind of a busy time for a lot of people. But they are rad. We sat down we went to the merch, and I was like, Dad, let me buy you a t-shirt. He's like, well, I'm not sure. I was like, honestly, the coolest shirt here is that Mammoth shirt, but I haven't really heard them. And I said, we'll see how it is. So we sit down, and they play their first song, and I have to I'd jump up because they are amazing. As soon as they're done with the first song, I look at him, I'm like, I guess I'm buying a t-shirt.
And would you look at that?
Yeah, it's flames, guys. Look at my boobs, Ashley.
Yeah, just go to the YouTube channel and check it out because it's good.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
And the guitarist, that was on stage, right? He came over, and I was just rocking out, and he hit his guitar and hit his chest and pointed at me, and it was super freaking cool.
Of course that happened.
I loved it. It's a true story. Okay, I'm putting my hat back on. Let's talk about books.
Okay, fine.
And thanks, Ashley. I love it.
Yeah, no, that was great. I felt like I was there. And for that reason, I'll do the same for you regarding my personal read, Hungry Ghosts by Kevin Jared Hosein.
Let's go. How metal was it? I want to know, how metal was Hungry Ghost?
You know what? Now I want to look into some like Trinidadian music and see what they've got going on over there.
Ooh.
Because while we did get a lot of culture, I didn't really catch any like music vibes in the book. So
Disappointed.
yeah, but I mean, it's Caribbean, so maybe it's just like
Steel drums?
Yeah, I would have to imagine. I'm making this up. Okay.
I can't wait to figure this out.
So I have some things to say. My first is it's really, really, really well written. This is like a person who wrote a book and who chose. That was the perfect time for that slip up.
I don't know what came out. Yeah.
Who chose his words wisely. It's one of these books where you're like, oh, the prose. Okay? Very descriptive.
Are we doing prose and rose? Is that a thing now?
Oh, prose.
Prose
and woes. Get it? The other prose?
Prose, like how you write
Was that always like it? Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm into
prose and woes.
But it makes sense why he got an award then.
Yeah, so a 2, apparently. Don't ask me what the other one was, but you can
Okay.
find that on the internet.
Gives me faith in the
It was for
the
fiction.
awards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, the prose is great. Very descriptive, very immersive. We touched on this last time, but just to reiterate, those are some good words there.
Love it.
Now, in case you didn't know, one of my majors was anthropology, and we read some
Whoa.
fiction works.
Record. Okay. First of all, I wish I had remembered that, but it's all making sense why you love historical nonfiction. Or no, sorry, historical fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really felt like if a lot of the classes I took were like Southeast Asian, and that is not the same as the Caribbean.
Any of the ones that
However, no, but maybe because this is the point I'm getting to. Maybe I've
Yeah.
already read those, you know?
Okay.
So I would think that this book's place would fit really nicely in a nice little anthropological class, like an academic setting about the Caribbean, maybe what happened to Trinidad. In this case, U-boats. Nazi U-boats started to enter the Caribbean. So then the U.S. went to occupy Trinidad and, you know, pop up and just make sure no Nazis were going to,
What?
I don't know, make some moves. Don't
Okay,
quote me
makes
on that.
sense. Yeah, they were positioning themselves.
And what that means is they took a lot of land over for people who were native and had lived there for years and years and generations. And they were just like, kind of, you got to kick rocks because we need the spot for the Army or the Navy.
Right.
So anyway, it does talk a little bit about how there was some displacement, how the vibe sort of changed, how the socioeconomic gap just widened really when this, I don't know if we'll call it colonialization, but just presence.
Okay. Yeah, presence is
occurred.
a good word. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there was some colonization that was happening just before all this took place anyway. So it's
From
tumultuous.
America or just different countries?
America and the British.
So the usual players.
Yeah.
In history.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, point being, it's a great read if you want to learn some history. It's a great read if you want to read some really tragic stuff.
You know, Ashley, I love that. Apparently you do too.
Okay, I didn't really love it. I don't know if it's my frame of mind.
Or wait, okay, thought. I'm stopping you so much.
It's okay, do.
I don't know. I mean, clearly our fans know by this point. I'm not even going to call you fans. You're part of the club. Our members, our clubbers.
Hey, bookies.
Hey, bookies. You know this already. Like, I do make sound effects. So that's just a part of who I am. Maybe instead of it just being like, oh my gosh, it's the books that Ashley's picking. They're always so sad. But it's just because of history is so sad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, think about it.
Like Strat.
Who's going to talk about like happy history?
Exactly. We'll get to it. But Strat from
way
Project
to-
Hail Mary
Way to
is
make
like,
that connection.
was a history major. And she's like, oh, did you not remember that history was super sucky?
Yeah, it's sociology.
And it was just people like trying to eat for years and years and years
Yeah,
and
it's
getting into
survival.
fights about
the
that.
whole thought is survival.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of survival, it's not overwhelming here in this book. There is some loss.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there
Okay.
is some loss. What I've decided to is I'm not going to get into specifics because I think if you have any interest whatsoever in historical fiction and tragedy and you're down to get down and sad with a book, I want you to read this. And I'm not going to tell you who dies specifically, but a main character does die, and it's really sad.
Who you're attached to, strongly developed, so it is emotional for you?
Yeah, one
Did
of
you
the
cry?
two people that you're rooting for. No, but it was really sad. Like that's the thing is the book we touch on different stories of different characters. The character development is really good too, very in depth. You really get a sense of who these people are, but overwhelmingly, they're sad. And it's because of their place in life and what's going on and their living conditions.
Socioeconomic then.
Hugely. And just there's, so this specific population, the people that we're talking about are Hindu for the most part.
Interesting.
Yes. And right now in this place in history, it's frowned upon to be Hindu here in Trinidad. So they're just looked at as like a lesser people, like their God's not as good as the other people's God.
Aren't they a kinder, gentler people though?
In general, yeah, but not according to what's going on here. They're more like primitive or animalistic, or it's like just really down on these guys. So it's pretty sad just all around. Overwhelmingly, I mean, hungry ghosts actually is a concept that comes from Hinduism.
Oh, okay.
I won't pronounce this right, but there are these beings, pretas or pretas, Pretas, and it's just like a being or a spirit that has this insatiable hunger, and it's like a past person, and they just stick around and kind of cause problems.
Oh.
So that's one metaphor for hungry ghosts.
Interesting.
The other is, and this isn't a spoiler, but the main couple that we are learning about had a loss. Their maybe 1-year-old daughter passed away, and it was a really traumatic experience, but apparently very common because there's not a lot of like medical help, vaccines, immunizations, whatever, things like that, preventative measures at this time and in this population. So it's really sad. But Hans, who's like one of the main men, is the father of the baby who died, and he kind of feels like this hungry ghost presence, just this loss,
like
and this
unfinished
grief.
Business.
Exactly, because such a young life was lost, and it happened really quickly.
Tragically.
Yeah.
And if you're into ghost stories or spiritual, that tends to be the spirits that linger, that hang because they have unfinished business, or it's so traumatic that they don't have a chance to understand that they've passed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's really sad. And so an overwhelming theme is just like these characters, a lot of them just have this like yearning to get out of their situation. They still, even though day-to-day life really sucks. I mean, they're human beings. They're doing their best. This is their life. They're working with what they've got. But there's this overwhelming sense of just like trying to like dig out of this hole that they're in and move on. Like they want to buy this land that's for sale. Well, guess what? There's prejudices about their religion. So maybe they're not even a person who's allowed to buy this land according to the person who's selling it. So there are just a lot of things like that playing into where like, okay, I have the money now. You think I've got this.
So they work hard, and it's I forget the literary technique, but I know we studied it with Mr. Monet. Like, I know we did, where, you're rooting for the character's working hard, but everything is stacked up against them. Against them.
I'm sure he's read and would like this book because I'm just like having a Monet flashback.
It's so cool.
Yes.
I hope you're still out there.
Me too.
Yeah.
So it's just, and then a character gets an opportunity to get out of his shitty situation, and that ends in tragedy. So, and it's just like full circle tragedy, all in all. I will say at the very end, we're left with like a teeny glimmer of hope for these twins who are like the most sort of segregated or looked down upon in the whole community, even of the like lowest of the low economic standing people, because their dad was a really evil person and he killed people, and then he was killed, and he was just a bad guy. So everybody's like, oh, well, then these twins must be bad too, when really they have good hearts.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So we're left with a little bit of glimmer of hope for their future, but they also have done some bad things.
Let's talk then. Okay, because you're reviewing the book. You had a lot of pros. I mean, maybe there were some woes that were added in there, but I think woes, not necessarily like what's sad in the book, but are there things that you don't like about the book? It sounds like you were happy enough with the conclusion that you, one, kept reading. The writing was good enough to keep you reading, and you would recommend it, or like let's.
I would recommend it to someone who's interested in history and doesn't mind just, there wasn't really a lot of resolution. Like the end was the end, but at the same time, it's this teeny glimmer of hope for these 2 characters out of like 10 characters. And also there's this main conflict or just sort of problem in the beginning that we never like, no one ties that loose end. And I think the point is that it didn't matter. and
Oh,
all these
okay.
people's lives are going on.
Got
And
it.
that was just like one small little thing when in the beginning of the book, it felt like that's what this was going to be about.
So there's a greater message. It's less of an adventure that has a resolution and more of like, here's what you're learning about this culture at this time.
Yeah, I think it was just like an important piece of history just to sort of, I don't know, highlight a marginalized people who I'm assuming and didn't research, but I feel like the author has very strong ties, whether they're actually like familial or not. He clearly has a strong understanding
I
of
mean,
what was
Kevin,
going
let us
on.
know.
Hey, Kevin, I've tagged you.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it was really written from the heart. Maybe some generational sort of trauma or grief is trying to be resolved with this. Like, I really feel like there's some deep, deep meaning going into why this guy wrote this book.
Okay.
And that's why I also don't want to just like be like, oh, it's too sad for me. Like, don't read it.
Yeah.
It's important. However, if you're not in the frame of mind to like sit with it, you might skip it for now.
You have to want it. So those history buffs out there, those who are specifically into learning about humanity through this lens at this time, like it's a go-to read. It could be a very beneficial read.
But as far as woes go, it was just over and over and over, just this repeated like sense of like grief and stuff that like it was just pretty frustrating, honestly, to be like, oh man, no, shoot, okay, no, oh no,
Right.
Like it's important, and I'm understandably like I get why the story is that way, but it's just from a reader's point of view. It's just like a repeated, just like bam, bam, bam.
You're hit over the head with it. Oh, so it's kind of interesting to me because I would feel that this isn't something that someone just would want to write. Like you said, like you'd have to have some tie to it. And it could even be like someone who's sitting in a history course and starts to learn about the marginalization or the experiences that people are having and wants to bring it to a greater audience.
Yeah.
Or they have firsthand experience with it.
Right. And I think it's probably the second, but I would say if you just happen to be a professor out there and your specialty in anthropology.
And not imperialism though, but like
well, it could be
occupation.
Because maybe occupation is a good word. I think that's the right one.
Okay.
So, whether it's specific to the culture in Trinidad or specific to what was going on in the world at this time, it ends up covering like it's more of the result of what was happening in the 30s and 40s and more so taking place in like the 60s.
Okay.
Or if you're just interested about other cultures and that, life sucks out there and you don't mind just being reminded of that because you do get to learn a lot about them. And again, the writing is really, really nice. Oh, and then of course there is the warning. Some dogs don't make it.
No. In a brutal way? I'm just going to take that as a yes.
I will say the first two, not as brutal.
See, I can't do it.
And then there is a scene that's a little rough.
Is kicking involved?
There's kicking.
I can't, no.
They survive, but it's a rough scene.
Yeah,
so if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, skip it.
Okay, you want to know something interesting about me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't think you know this. One of my all-time favorite movies is Schindler's List.
Okay, I thought you were going to say, now this is inappropriate because of what you did say, but I thought you were going to say Old Yeller.
Old Yeller? No. Honestly, my parents made it, my brother and I watch it once when we were little because that's like important. And I'm still scarred by that. I can't do it. Oh, we already had this conversation about John Wick. Everybody knows it. Okay.
And then where the red fern grows. If you haven't seen it, don't show your kids. But anyway, okay. So I'm sorry. Schindler's List, which is an amazing story.
Yes, absolutely. But it's same idea. I mean, it's obviously there are things that are, not taken advantage of, but there's liberties that are taken in a film in the film process, you know. That being said, it is depressing. It is dark, but it is a mirror of society at that time and Nazism and the death and horrible genocide that occurred. And I think one of the things that resonates for me that I love about it is I always feel it's important to bear witness. Like, I think it's very important to realize and understand history so that you can understand people and so that we don't repeat these things again, and it's a very dark part of history. I guess we're learning that there isn't
where are the light parts?
Yeah, we should. I would like to look more into the lighter parts. Maybe that's why a lot of people, even though there's horrible things happening in the world, do say that we're coming into like another golden age of some sort.
Maybe.
To get, through it. But anyway, the suffering I think is important to, like I said, bear witness to.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I stuck with it, and I didn't realize it was gonna be it's dark in a certain way.
Right.
When I picked it up, I was like, "Oh, hey, this should be an interesting story. Someone
It's not a ghost story.
goes missing."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a ghost story. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just a different type of ghost.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Deep. Rich. Did you feel intelligent reading it?
I felt like I was back in college, but this time I'm sober. So maybe that's why it took me a little bit longer to get through. But yeah, overall A+, writing.
Cool.
Maybe, I don't know, just make sure you're in the right frame of mind if you decide to take this journey.
I love how we go from Creed, Mammoth, and I didn't even tell you Daughtry played as well.
I did see that, though. I looked up. I was like, who are all these bands?
Absolutely phenomenal. And then to Hungry Ghost by
Kevin Jared Hosein.
Amazing.
Who is an award-winning author, and it's an award-winning book, and it gets the Ashley seal of historical fiction approval. But like the others, it's so, so sad.
Oh,
And you can quote me on that.
It's just like the others. It's so, so sad.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But anyway, that's it on that.
Okay.
I'm happy to wrap it up. I just want to move on to bigger and brighter things, which is actually hilarious when you find out what I'm going to read next. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh my goodness. All right. I'm up. And for those who are listening, it doesn't matter anyways. You're just listening. For those of you who are watching, I'm going to put up an image right now of One Lone Soul. And this was the one that I had picked up at the Fan Con, the Denver Comic Con, from LB Carter. And I couldn't talk about it last time because there was just too much last episode. We had a lot of catching up, and I wanted to talk about One Lone Soul. So I do have my handy dandy notebook, one of mine. And I guess we did really reach for the intergalactic theme today.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we did because hold it up.
It's my Daft Punk.
Okay, and I'm not a ding dong. I know about Daft Punk. I did think there were 3 of them, and I thought that these were astronauts. And that Katie. Okay, well, listen up, you guys.
Yeah.
We read Rebecca. She comes in with a dragon mug.
Yeah.
We read Project Hail Mary. Andy Weir. Of course, she would have a notebook with astronauts.
I still think that Daft Punk is relevant.
Yeah, it is.
To the
Either
alien
way,
species, I would say.
110%.
I hope they listen to Robot Rock.
I'm sure.
All right. So I really liked our pros and woes last time. So I'm just going to give you some pros, some woes, and then I can talk about them a little bit more.
Beautiful.
All right. So One Lone Soul by LB Carter. My pros. It's fun. It's totally a made-for-TV concept, and I'll talk about that.
Should be a show.
There are, okay, but I'm going to talk about that soon. There are likable characters. It's easy to read, easy to listen to. There are fun surprises throughout, but really the end is like, oh, aha.
Ooh.
And then there are fun descriptions of the different situations that are happening. So that probably makes it kind of easy, to go through. Here are my woes. It leans a little too hard into Darcy misphrasing of sayings. Okay. So like part of her character build is this likability where she misquotes. Okay. To me, it's a little bit too much. She this book demands a better cover. It seems very like Photoshop puzzle pieces kind of a little bit. And even though it is accurate with the story description, don't judge a book from its cover. Like you might not read it because of the cover.
Okay.
Like it just demands a better cover art.
And deserves, would you say?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it deserves it too.
Okay.
And then some of the names seem to be like out of place, weak, a little distracting. But honestly, like bigger pros than woes, as far as I'm concerned, it's just like some buttoning up that would even make it more approachable for television.
She has her editor hat on. When you say names, do you mean like character names?
Character names, like one character. And I get it because like it's to give the sense of this character, but like Slipknot.
Oh.
And that that's
okay.
That's distracting. I think it's like, okay, we could have spent a little bit more time on it. But overall though, I give it pros. I'm holding 2 thumbs up.
Yes, she is.
And the biggest reason for that is because it's a fun one. And what I mean by that is it's not something where you're going to be critical or deep into Trinidad. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not even where with Iron Flame, right? Where you've already built up these characters and you have great expectations because you're used to a writing style. Like you don't go into it with that. You go into it as, oh, this is going to be a fun concept. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, so like when you're scrolling through Netflix and you're like, oh, you know what? This one seems kind of like fun, cheesy. Like let's see what it's like. Have you, Ashley, ever seen iZombie?
I don't think so.
I want to say it's iZombie. It's okay. You know Ghosts?
The show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know the lead actress?
Yes. I've only seen a couple episodes, but I am familiar. I'm trying to
Okay.
picture. She's the alive one or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or wait. Yeah.
Okay.
She's the alive one that that sees all the ghosts.
Okay.
Okay. So that actress plays this this woman who's like come back from the dead in this zombie TV show.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, and I will check the name and share that with you. But it's also, or it was available on Netflix, and it's fun, right? But there's like some cheese to it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I also loved the sci-fi show Lost World,
Yes.
or sorry, not Lost World, Lost Girl.
Oh, nope. Haven't seen that one.
Okay,
There is
that
a
one's
Lost
kind
World.
of fun. Yeah, I know. I know. Okay, so in Lost Girl, she is her name's Bo, and Isabeau, and she is a succubus.
Oh, I like.
Okay, so you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like that kind of the fantasy world where like, you know, where like a little bit of cheese in there, but you just suspend and you go and you enjoy.
And that's part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I really do think like, please, any TV writers out there, like, and LB, I hope you see this, like, you should be hooking up with TV writers because you're right. It's a great idea. Your characters are strong enough. The way that you put together I just pictured it as a show and thought how fun. Like I'd watch that show.
I would watch it.
Okay. And then so the concept, you know, I had shared Darcy Rose. She basically dies and then she is part of the Lone Soul program for the devil. So instead of like straight up like you own my soul and I can, you know, have my wildest dreams come true. It's like other little agreements that you don't know really what they are yet, but she's trying to like make her sentence shorter or get like in good graces or whatever. And so Darcy has volunteered to be one of the people who comes and hangs out in the bodies while the devil is, you know, doing whatever with their soul.
Okay. I see.
Yeah. And so, like I said, fun concept. But what's more fun is at the beginning, you find out why Darcy is there. And Darcy is there because she caught her fiance cheating on her with her best friend.
Oh, no.
And her impulse was to run after this woman who was her best friend.
Uh-huh.
And they go off of the balcony together.
Oh, shoot.
So in her mind, she's lived a pretty good, like she wouldn't really be in hell except for an accidental murder is what she thinks. Because she thinks she killed her best friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
And do we find out more?
You find out a lot more, especially as the characters develop. And then, so the fun thing that you can imagine with television, right, is her possession of these different bodies. She's in men's bodies. She's in women's bodies.
Oh, we're Freaky Friday.
We're Freaky Friday. So you can like, there was a show when we were younger. I don't know, where this guy would be in other people's bodies. I don't remember what it was called. We've heard of shows like that, right?
Sure, yeah.
So you can just see like these different actors, right? Like,
yeah, and then being Darcy, not being Darcy.
Exactly.
Oh,
but then
this
Darcy
is good.
also trying to make sure that she doesn't blow their cover.
Right.
So she has to pretend to be these people also.
Does she get like a file?
So usually she gets some information, but stuff goes sideways. And that's what the fun of the story. Stuff goes sideways where there's like a glitch and she's like body jumping kind of.
Ooh.
And at the time she doesn't know why she's in these different women. So it starts to be like some women's bodies too, but she doesn't understand why she's in these different bodies. And then LB Carter, you sly devil to be punny, you know, you figure out towards the end, all these things start to come together. And she does end up being close to her fiance in some of these bodies.
Okay, and so does she realize that? Like, does she see him? Does she interact?
Well,
Are you going
I
to save
don't-
some?
I,
Okay.
I want to save it for you
Okay, okay,
guys,
okay.
but it's totally easy read. Like I said, made for television. Like that's what I want to put in your head. But yeah, basically she does. She learns why, but she has to be close. But she has to be careful because she still has this animosity towards him.
Mhm.
Obviously, because that's how and why she died. It's pretty
Right.
unfavorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, so there's some really cool stuff that happens, some fun stuff that
Yeah,
happens.
this sounds really good. The concept is good. It's fresh to me. Like,
Yeah.
I would watch the show. I would read the book.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it's a quickie. You
So
know,
then maybe I will read the
So
book.
if you listen to it on Audible or an audiobook version, it's under 6 to 7.
Okay.
And you know, it leaves you with enough where you're like ready for the next one. That's why I said made for TV concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's light enough where like you don't have to focus too heavily on it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, Darcy in her life was a mortician of sorts. She had been going to med school with her fiance.
Oh, no.
She dropped out because she wanted to do I can't believe I'm forgetting what it's called. Oh, taxidermy.
Oh, okay.
And she creates this business called Forever
Pets?
Yeah, something like that. Forever Babies or something like they're
Oh.
not babies, but
Yeah, yeah.
they're animals for sure. Forever Friends. I don't have it specifically, but I remember the forever part.
Oh, okay, cute.
And why this is important is a couple characters that you meet are two of the animals that she has taxidermized.
Oh, interesting.
That she's stuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, there's a little bit more. I'm not sure if I really like that part, but it was also super fun. Like it's fun, you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So great concept. I think like it deserves, like I said, some different marketing, but really made for television. And your writing style's fun. Maybe a little. I would change just a couple things to make it for like a bigger audience. I had mentioned how LB leans a little bit into this Darcy persona where, for instance. Here's something that she might say. Potato. She might say like potato spiccato.
Mhm.
I mean, like it's kind of like, okay, is it geeky endearing? Like I'm wondering, okay, LB Carter, maybe your geeky, nerdy, endearing part is coming through, and maybe that's a part of you. It also plays into like how some of the people who were in her world recognize that it's her soul. So I see how
there's
it's used as a tool, but it's
yeah.
almost like too immature for me for the type of writing and story that is happening. It's like
Mhm.
too much. What are some classic sayings too? Like a penny for your thoughts, right?
Okay.
So like a quarter for what you're thinking. I mean, that's even too generous. It's like, and she'll just take one of the words and make it a completely different word.
Yeah.
And I know that I misspeak at times, but it's a little too obvious in here, you know?
This is going to be very niche. Have you ever seen Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Ricky does that all the time. He'll be like, I don't know. I can't think of one, which is embarrassing because it's like one of my favorite shows. But
It's
he
so funny.
is constantly doing that with like these phrases, but then he says like one or two words that are off and it kind of changes the meaning. And that's how we know it's Ricky.
Okay, so maybe it's more natural in that.
And for him,
You're right,
it's
though.
a different situation.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to relate what's going on here to
Okay.
put it in my head like what.
So it
what's going-
totally fits in like a Trailer Park Boys. But then like when you have this person who's supposed to be very intelligent,
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
or like, and I mean, she's with it. She was in med school, you
like
know.
maybe she could have had a different tick or something that was still identifiable,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it wasn't
without
this
taking it away.
specific device.
But like I said, though, maybe like, here's the thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. You know this, Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, that's cool. It's totally cool,
And
right,
that-
Ashley?
Yep, it's super cool.
It's
That's why we're here.
It's super cool. So I'll be like, that's cute, you know, but it's almost like you're hit over the head with it.
Oh, okay. That could also be it too. Maybe it's just a little too much.
Yeah, probably just a little too much.
Okay.
Okay, is that enough? Is that good?
No, that's good, especially if you're not going to spoil it for us so that we can
Yeah.
still go and enjoy. I think that's a great idea, and that's just enough.
Rock and roll. Okay, so One Lone Soul. And like I said, the ending though, worth it. Let's just say
Okay. I hope she kills him.
Okay, so Leland, who is her ex-fiance, he's been up to some stuff.
Oh.
And he's been missing her.
Oh, no.
Yep. I think that's enough to say.
This is nice.
Yes, it is. It's fun. And I could just see these characters. They're rich. Boom.
Okay.
Oh, wait, actually, I just dropped my notebook, so I got to pick it back up, because what are we going to talk about?
This is a watch episode, you guys.
This is watch us.
Okay, so I think we're all excited to discuss
Yes.
the shared read.
The shared read, which is
Project Hail Mary
by
Andy Weir,
who also wrote
The Martian as well as Artemis.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Cool.
Yeah, it's narrated by Rosario Dawson.
Can we just take a moment of
I listened to it
beautiful
because the preview popped up when I finished with Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
And honestly, and we'll get to this part, but I was a little scienced out
Okay.
at that point
Yes.
to start a new one. So I didn't.
Yeah.
But like,
I get it.
great concept.
I get it.
And
okay.
The Martian. I've seen The Martian. I don't remember which one it is.
Matt Damon. Sorry.
Is that allowed?
I did 100% because isn't that from the South Park guys?
Yeah, of course. That's a whole new topic. Have you guys seen what those guys are up to lately? I'm not going to get into it.
My goodness.
But go check it out if you're an adult, which you better be if you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so bringing it back, I know it's Matt Damon. I think he ends up on a planet alone, and he has to he's an agriculture guy or something.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
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 Let's just say it. Potatoes.
Okay, potato schmepato. Call me Darcy.
Now you got it.
So I am familiar with the story. I remember it being good. This, hands down,
Yes.
the best audiobook I've ever listened to.
Yes. Wasn't that
Mr. Porter,
narrator?
amazing job.
I kept saying orator, the last however many episodes. An orator, public speaker. I mean, I'm sure they have to be, but the vocal performer, that's what we'll call him. A vocal performer.
Yes. And that
narrator,
is.
amazing.
Yeah, he was really good. Did you pull up a picture of him?
No.
Oh, I did.
Is it
At the
worthwhile?
end. I do it at the end.
Okay.
Just so you're not picturing him. Because picturing Ryan Gosling is way better. I mean, he's a fine-looking man.
Got it.
Mr. Porter, I love it. I love what you're doing with your hair. I love the facial hair.
Oh my gosh.
Really
I have to look it up now.
But I did really like going through it, just picturing Ryan, because the
Perfect.
voice matched up and just the actions matched up. Let's get into pros and woes so we can really talk about it.
Amazing. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Or you got yours? Okay. I'll start because I have got it written down. It's a pretty big page. Pros. I loved it.
That's also a pro of mine.
That's a pro. I loved it. Yeah, it's nice to just get some good, solid entertainment in there. You know what I mean?
It was really just refreshing. I'm sorry, these are your pros. Go.
Okay. and I won't stop to talk about them, but we will talk about them. Okay. I loved it. Believable science.
Yes.
Consistent, mostly characters.
Yes.
Okay. The human ones, especially.
Mm-hmm.
How memories return and support what's going on, like with problem solving in space, even Ryland's behavior, like why he does certain things, Ryland being the main character.
Yep.
And Rocky, likable and needed to be present so that you could believe his survival on the spaceship.
Yep.
Survival being Ryland.
Right.
There's even more than that, but those are my solid ones. And then my woes, there are a couple parts contradictory to who I think Ryland is established as.
I didn't like that part that you're talking about either. But go on.
Minimal, but we'll talk about it. And ending ?
Yeah, that's where I kind of saw the movie.
Yeah.
Part of the whole thing.
Yeah, and we'll talk about things, but those are my immediate pros and woes. What would yours be?
Okay, I just want to reiterate, loved it. I really, really did. And then my second one was the structure.
Thanks, Andy.
Yes,
The structure.
thank you. The structure, like you mentioned, I really loved how we get the flashback. Well, actually, usually we get an issue. Then we get the flashback to get the resolution for the issue. And then we get the, resolution where he gets to use that flashback to take care of the issue. And even though that was repeated a lot, I never got tired of it.
Nope.
I loved learning that way. I loved getting to know him and the situation. I loved how we just got all this information through the same structure. It was beautiful to me.
The jump was great too. It was a little jarring, which is what you needed to kind of get out of the emergency or situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
And I liked just adding on to style and structure that we're learning with him.
Mm-hmm.
So from that very get-go, we're dropped into this situation. We don't know where we are. Well, we knew more than he did because he was really lost. We knew we were reading about an astronaut or some sort of space thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so just like jumping in, learning together, loved it all. Something else I did really like too was that we already had a big enough problem with the astrophage, like destroying humanity, that we didn't have to have any like conflict with Rocky.
Yep.
I liked how it was just friend on friend right from the beginning.
Yep.
I didn't need like any more than the cute little remarks here and there about how
Yep.
just how Ryland's personality shines throughout his dialogue is really good too. But just getting
Rocky's.
those like sort of satirical little comments or just
Yep.
sarcastic, that
Good
was
humor.
just enough for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just thank you, Andy, for not making us have to like be
Yes.
like, well, they won't, they kill each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those were all pluses.
Let's hear some woes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put science-y in pros and woes because
it.
for
Yeah.
the most part, I really loved it. I didn't like feel like it was too much. I will say I did do audiobook the whole time. I kind of have a feeling if I was reading it, it might have been a little just
Good point. Science
redundant
class.
each.
E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that having that narrator just use his expression to go through, and even like with the sounds and stuff, I don't know exactly how that comes off the page. So
Good point.
for me, it was a good amount of science. I would say, though, that's probably not the case. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I have a feeling there might be some people who would be turned off by how much science there is, because it really does get thick there.
Yeah.
It really gets thick.
I liked it. I liked it thick.
All I have to say is Chicago dog. And that's just a little pullback from our conversation we had off cam. So anyway, yeah, and for woes, it's just, I don't know where he would have taken any of the sciencey talk out because we really did need it to solve the problem. It also got a little redundant for me, just kind of middle end, the problem after problem after problem after problem. I see how that's going to make for a really good cinematic experience.
Yep.
But just from like a book standpoint, we were really just, there were a lot of barriers and a lot of hurdles that we were trying to get through, like as they're trying to understand.
Which are believable.
It totally was.
However, it's like, how many times are they almost going to die?
Yeah, and just, I do get it, because like we're working with something we've never worked with before and conditions we've never experienced before. And in his case, he's not even an astronaut. But this also, I'm just going to say with a caveat that I listened to it in a pretty short period of time. So maybe if I would have let it stretch out, I could have I would have dealt with that a little bit better. Yeah. But there was just some thickness there towards the middle end of the book where I was like, okay, can we just get on with it?
So like if you were to think of it in other forms of entertainment, if it were a movie, they're going to cut some of it. They're going to trim the fat.
And it's going to be just an escalation. And it's just, you're in space, and we've seen these epic space movies before. We know that there's problems and problems and problems, and then there's hope, and then there's problems, and it seems fine to me on the screen.
Like it could even be a limited series, or maybe even do better or be more akin to the book. Should it be, a seasonal series?
I have a feeling as just one movie, a lot of what we were reading in terms of problems, that's all going to just happen really quick.
Yep. So we'll get into that. Are we pretty good on pros and woes?
I think so. Well, as far as woes go, actually, we'll stop there.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of them. Okay, so like the science part, this is really, really interesting. So we did listen to this on our trip to Montana. Last episode 16, I mentioned how this book specifically is one of my brother's book club's reads. Okay. Right. And so I was along for the ride, literally and figuratively. And it was something that we put on. So it was engaging. I mean, when you are on the road for 20 hours, you have to have something good. Yeah. Right? And so those problems were helpful, but we pulled into a gas station in like, I'll just say like a podunk town, like just kind of like off the beaten path, driving from Southern California all the way to up, I want to say Midwest Montana. There's a lot of sparsity, you know what I mean? There's a lot of vastness. So we're in this town, and we're getting gas, and the person who is checking us out of the little gas station, really nice guy, and it was either Montana or Utah, and he overheard my brother telling my dad about the book. And he goes, "Are you talking about Project Hail Mary by
Ooh.
Andy Weir?" To my brother and I.
That is so crazy. So he's
And
heard of it.
So he has, and he had read it. He was a fan of it. He was excited that we were reading it. And for him, you know, you could tell, and he expressed it, that a lot of these science fiction books, they just want you to believe what's possible.
Mhm.
They just want to lead you there or create a problem, and they don't explain it. And you just, as the person experiencing it through reading or viewing, you just suspend belief, right?
Right.
And this book didn't do that. It gave it to you.
Yeah.
And so for him, it made him, he liked that part of it because it felt intelligent.
It was.
And
yes.
and it became the issues, and it was almost like a device used to really set the scene. And then when you're in it, you can't just let it go because it's that type of book.
Yeah.
And so it was more believable. It was more entertaining, especially for this individual. And we were like, yeah, absolutely, especially at the beginning, because it's not like Independence Day where it's just like, hey, here's some alien
Or
science,
so many space movies. Like
Yeah.
usually when it comes to space, it's like an asteroid or an alien. This was maybe there's something out there like this, but for me, this was a whole new conflict.
Right. Wasn't that great though?
Yeah,
because
no,
it
I
wasn't
loved it.
Yeah, and then explaining like the cellular. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like someone who has a background in science, they will thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, 100%.
Whereas like a lot of these science fictions don't really hit their audience in that way, you know? And then for someone who's like absolutely not into sci-fi, then you're probably not going to like it because it could be too much. I mean, the movie will probably be less because it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then someone who's like middle of the road, like you and I, it's like
It was
good and helpful,
Yeah.
but then it can be a little much.
Yeah. And I would say it took me like 3/4 of the book before I really started to feel that way. And even though I did start to feel that way, I was like, there was no way around it in my mind. If there would have been less, I would have been like, well, what about XYZ?
Exactly.
So it was just enough. Maybe this was a me problem. Maybe I needed to give it a little more space between
there
chapters.
There were moments too, and I'm going to include Jim in this, but I'm going to. The same for us, where it was like, okay, we get it. Like technically you already explained that to us.
Right.
But I can't tell you how many times I leaned over and was like, well, what about this? And then he was like, I'm going to explain it to you in science talk. And I was like, okay.
Exactly. And then it's like, if you're really looking into it, like Rylan, it's all he's got. Like he's making these chains out of, what was the material that Rocky made?
Xenon.
Xenonite? I think so.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It is Xenonite.
By the way, there were so many moments for me when it was a phrase or a word or this or that. And I was like, this is freaking brilliant. Like, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever consumed in my life. So I nerded out, and I'm like, not a nerd, but I'm just the host of a book club podcast. But,
who loves historical nonfiction.
But I was really pleased, like in so many parts, and a lot of that was just the writing for Rylan's personality. But like you talked about, names were a little distracting for you in your personal read. These names were brilliant, perfect, amazing.
Yeah.
And so as they're making this 200 million kilometer chain out of Xenonite or whatever.
I love it. That's an over exaggeration, but by the way, but
it might have been 200, whatever. But it was a very long chain. He's just doing this repetitive thing over and over for 2 weeks.
Yes.
So we get to hear a little bit extra about the molecules. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But overall, it was stellar. No pun intended. Just kidding. All the puns. And I'm really excited for the film, obviously.
Yeah.
Talk about the ending. What would you have preferred?
Okay, well, before we talk about the ending, let's return to just a couple really quickly. Okay, so the woe that I had, like contradictory parts to Ryland. Okay, so we're gonna do like. Now we're going to include some spoilers, okay? So before we do that, we've got a movie coming out. It's in March. I just want to pitch to everybody, if you're going to read it, I feel like you should read it now. or listen to it now, because there's so much in the book that I already know they have a lot to work with, but they're not going to be able to keep it all. And there might be a situation akin to Jurassic Park.
I was literally thinking those words.
Yes, remember how I was geeking out over Jurassic Park, but I had to separate myself from the book and the movie to have two different experiences where, like, the movie, they clearly read the book and then they were like, okay, we're going to take these ideas and here they are for movie format. I feel like they might be doing the same or have to do the same for this book. So if you really want to enjoy the book, my strong suggestion, read it now or listen to it now, or watch the movie first and then after go to the book. What do you think?
I say listen and read now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And it'll give you
Yay.
enough time to like let it just chill before the movie comes out. And then you get to re-enjoy again. And then if it doesn't hit everything, you will be okay.
Yeah.
Because you'll have that background.
You know, and I think back to, okay, I was strongly invested as a child in Harry Potter. I read Harry Potter, and when the first movie came out, I was disappointed.
Of course.
Okay? Same thing with Twilight, right? And people get better as the series develop or whatever, but this is going to be a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish that I had more separation from being in the world that I created in my mind to the world that somebody else imagined.
Right.
However, not only do I think that the casting is spot on for the main character,
Yes.
but I saw some imaging of Rocky, and he's, to me, I think he's perfect. He's exactly how he's described.
I had to look at images because when I was hearing the description, I'm like,
Interesting.
that can't be right. And so I did. I Googled a little and I'm like, okay, I'm going to work with this. This is great. And then obviously as I got to know his personality, I'm like, okay, you're perfect.
Okay, yay!
But gosh, I did want to ask one quick question regarding Jurassic Park. And
Yes.
It's science-y.
Yes, so
Would you
good.
say it's akin? Would you say now having this experience with so much science in the audiobook?
Oh, the Michael Crichton book is so much better. Like, the entertainment Hollywood did Hollywood's thing. They gave you just enough, right?
Oh, okay.
But in the book, the sequencing and the science is explained more when you're comparing.
Well,
Because that's your question, right?
I'm asking the different stories, not Jurassic Park the movie to Jurassic Park the book.
Okay.
But Project Hail Mary the book to Jurassic Park the book. Like on levels of scienciness. Are we getting more science in this one, less science, better science, more confusing, less confusing?
I think there's more science in this one because the problem solving is dependent on the science.
Okay, gotcha.
Whereas when you have giant dinosaurs that are loose, you're solving the problem less with science.
Totally.
And more with action.
Of course.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, that makes perfect sense
So
to me.
yes, more science, but because the book requires it.
Got you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to see the movie lose it, but just in case it does, like I said, I'm glad we read it now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so we said that. Now we can get into spoilers. So if y'all don't mind spoilers, we're getting into it, but maybe skip ahead.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Honestly, for this book, I feel like it was just so like action-packed and interesting. Even if I would have known what was going to happen, the story, it still would have been just as good. But you know yourself.
You know yourself.
Go with what you really think.
Okay. Let's just get over the first spoiler. I was disappointed in a sense. Okay, so it was fun because as we are listening to it, we would pause and have discussions.
Mm-hmm.
But the trailer does show a little bit of the Rocky character, and we know that there's an alien presence. And most of the beginning of the book doesn't talk about that meeting. And it's like, yes, Rocky is an important character, but it was so cool to have that surprise of his presence.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't know that there was going to be an alien because I just jumped on in, and I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but just having him pop up and then, like I said, having it not be this huge, like, scary thing, it was really good. I don't know how I would have felt about knowing that beforehand now that you mention it. I think it still would have been fine.
Yeah. But it's a cool surprise, isn't it?
It was such a good surprise because he's alone, first of all. And
he's really not smart enough to figure it out on his own.
No, and
he's brilliant.
Exactly. The story needed this.
Right. And did you catch that, they have this conversation themselves, these two characters, about how they were able to meet.
Yes. And
right?
it made so much sense. That's the thing that was so great about this book is like, these situations, even if you don't get like what H2O does to combine, that's a
Yeah.
very like low level chemistry thing. But even if you don't get exactly everything that he's saying, the situation
Right.
and the explanation
Right.
is so perfect.
It is.
Like we're not advanced enough that we could have solved it another way, and we're not
It was timing.
Yeah.
It was just, even though their bodies, the alien body and the human body, which is funny because the human body is alien to the alien,
right.
they just both had the perfect storm and the perfect conditions on their planets and for who they are, that they needed this moment and to discover this thing. It was almost like a miracle,
Mhm.
but the miracle was set up because they needed to.
Yeah.
And that was the only way it was going to happen. Them meeting happened because they needed it to.
And with that being said, I loved how they were so different, but also had similarities, just
Yeah.
like with everything.
And which you needed the science to understand, because the chemical composition, right? The chemical composition on their planets enabled them to be certain ways. With one exception, they were both advanced enough in their societies to be able to reach outer space. And even in many ways, Rocky's, alien life is more advanced, but they're also technologically behind because their bodies require different things or see different things, such as the radiation.
Yeah, that was a sad part. But I really liked the explanation.
Yeah, as I get into it.
No, and then another thing too, just having Rocky be there, it's funny. Having the alien made it more believable.
Yes!
But it did, because it's like, okay, Ryan Gosling, no offense, Rylan Grace, they have the same initials.
I thought that
Okay,
too.
Ryan, you're gonna save this all by yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're not even like an astronaut.
I mean, brilliant people, but exactly, it was required.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about how he didn't want to go.
Yeah. So, okay. Now that
Did you like it?
At first I didn't, because it felt against his character. When Strat, who we can talk about, reminded him, like, actually, you are a coward. Remember when you got a little offended and then you backed out of your research and became a teacher?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so I guess that's like a linear thing. But just after we had been through so much with him and he
Yep.
was so dedicated to the cause, and even in his flashbacks, he was so dedicated to the
Yep.
cause, it still wasn't super believable for me that he'd be like, I need to stay and teach the kids.
Yeah. And when he's saying it, like, that it's him being a coward.
Right.
But at the same time, I was having trouble because I was like, is that his character or is it who I wanted his character to be?
I guess that's a really good point.
And it was very humane. Like, it was like, right? It was
Yes,
very
human of
normal.
him.
It was very, not humane. He put his dog down. No, sorry. Very human of him to perhaps have those feelings. And at the beginning, even in his flashbacks, he is saying stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's enough in there, but I think I just was fighting it. I didn't want to hear it.
I was fighting it too, but now that you kind of put it like that, he really didn't have, unless I'm forgetting something, any other character flaws.
Well, and here's the question. Maybe it just wasn't enough. Maybe Andy should have leaned into it a little bit more, but then it would have been a spoiler, because in his interviewing of Chow and was it Chow? What was the two astronauts that
The
were
one who was in charge, I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, so like
The commander.
the three astronauts that are going to go,
Mhm.
when he's interviewing them about how they want to die, which I thought that was very
Oh,
interesting.
I really liked that.
Yeah, because it's like a no return mission. He does say, like, I can't imagine, like, this is a hefty topic, like, and in his mind at that point, he isn't imagining it, or he only is imagining it because in his mind, he's not going to outer space.
Yeah.
And he felt sorry for them.
I think it's just, okay, so we've got this guy he's a scientist. So to me, and this is for me, not for the character he is, but to me, I'm like, well, you're a scientist. Like, wouldn't you rather go do something up in space than sit here and you know what's going to happen? Like, it's probably going to be really, really bad down here.
That's what I think was the contradictory part, because, like, the other stuff, okay, with development, you can believe it. However, as he's discussing what's going to be happening down below and how only certain things are going to make sense. Like I'm for those of you not watching, I'm throwing my Hail Mary. Like you would think that he would want some significance, or he would understand his value in it because he's been along for this
Or
this
just
ride.
like, to me, like, I mean,
You're gonna die.
right, kind of. Or just like, do you want to like sit around and watch on the news? Because realistically, his specific self, he might end up being totally fine. But because, like they said, richer countries are going to take advantage of poorer countries, whatever.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
might
yeah.
still see himself as being sort of a privileged
Survivor?
perspective sort of person.
Yeah, but those kids don't really need him for the rest of their
And
lives.
that was totally just an excuse.
It was an excuse,
But
and they
I'm
say
just-
it.
I'm just thinking, like, wouldn't you rather go do something? Like, not even because it's like this savior thing to do, but just because it's not sitting here watching the world burn.
Right. And I feel like his character would want that challenge because that's what his character did. Problem solved and accepted challenges. However, right, it's not just the greatest challenge to humanity, but it's also this idea that you're going to die. I guess that's the problem, is because you're going to die either way. And his argument kept being like the cowardice was because you're going to die. No, it was the whole concept of dying sooner than what you think your time's going to be. But
When
you could die at any
really
point.
the whole you could get in a car accident thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that we're breaking it down, it's like if he would have had somebody that he really wanted to stay home with, I would have understood it a
Right.
little bit more. But then again, she brings up the point, like, you're not even in a committed relationship because you're so worried about disappointment or failure.
Well, and so maybe just, he has this epiphany that Strat was right all along.
Right.
But let's talk about what Strat said. Is she accurate? Did it make sense? Was he that much of a coward? Maybe that's my problem. I don't believe he was that much of a coward.
Well, when she hit on the whole, you backed out of like really, really good research just because you were having a problem within the community. I mean, I kind of saw that. Like, he's pretty brilliant, or is he just kind of brilliant? I don't know. But he seems
Yeah.
pretty brilliant to me, a layman. But I don't know. Now you're no hate, no shade to middle school teachers. You're fighting the biggest fight out there. But like, that is kind of a big jump for someone who might not want to be like a risk taker.
Okay, so I did have this conversation. There is a specific high school teacher that I know who graduated from a very prestigious school, and they were very ego driven. And
And if I remember correctly, not that easy to get along with.
not easy at all. And said individual made it a point to find me at graduation, and apparently that individual being my teacher meant a lot to that person.
Well, you wouldn't have known it.
Exactly. That's my point. And I can't tell you how many people that we know were like, well, this person went to there. Why are they a high school teacher?
I completely erased this person from my mind.
Yeah, but
Until just now.
whenever we would have certain lessons, and the reason why I'm mentioning without names is because a good teacher, an excellent teacher.
Sure.
And I don't want to judge anybody for life decisions at all. This is just the parallel we draw from our own lives, right? And I feel like a lot of people have had experiences with individuals that are very similar to the character Ryland Grace. And for me, this is that person, a brilliant, brilliant person. And you want to believe that they're teaching high school because they're making a difference. But the power struggles that were occurring in that classroom and the lack of explanation when we had very valid questions, and then to some degree of needing the control, like we would talk about grades and the bell curve, and it had to be like, even if you're 89.9%, like, no, we can't have a conversation. No, you can't have extra credit. Yes, you technically got an A on the final, but, nope, this isn't how it works. Like, for me, you do go, okay, why is that person here? And why is this person looking at education in this way?
Mm-hmm.
Like, your job is so for us to understand, for students to understand, you want to teach these students, but are you getting off on it a little bit? Like, and it seemed like he was like that. Ryland Grace, that character, had that moment where, yeah, he's clearly,
He likes being the smartest guy in the room,
there it is.
even if they're 12.
Thank you. Yeah. Yep. I
Okay.
mean, for Ryland Grace.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, now he definitely seemed like a cool teacher, the type of teacher I would have loved. He seemed fun, you know, the beanbag things. You're like, he really does love the kids. And he does. And it's this beautiful setup. And then you understand, okay, it's not just him loving the kids. It's him gaining something to his ego.
And wait just a minute. Do we remember who he was annoyed with in his class? The smart girl.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But he was like friendly. He was friendly
he was
enough.
he was still.
And we all had somebody
But we're
like that.
also
I
getting
guess.
his recount of the situation. I'd
This
love
is
to
true.
hear from, I forget her name.
Who probably, you know, survived.
Started a podcast.
You know, and you don't.
Okay, we're getting too personal.
Ashley, we're talking about characters here.
Okay.
Okay, you know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
in those moments, I didn't think that there was enough. Maybe part of it was me just wanting to believe. But then he does put a nice little bow on it, doesn't he?
He
Comes
does.
back.
He does. I'll actually, now that we're talking about character here, I'm really interested to see how Ryan Gosling presents Ryland when it comes to that flaw.
Yeah.
I'll be really interested to compare and contrast. Like,
Yeah.
are we going to get it right from the beginning?
Is he going to lean in a little bit more?
Yeah,
Like,
or
this
are
is
we
not
gonna
for me?
be completely shocked when we find out that this super hottie genius didn't volunteer for the suicide mission?
So they lean into it as far as the trailer's
I'm
concerned.
going to have to check out this
Yeah,
trailer.
the spoiler trailer really does have it because he's like, I'm not an astronaut. I'm not going to go. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, he throws fit. Okay.
Yeah, so I think, but maybe because that was one of our flaws, right?
Yeah.
We're like, so we need that
A little stronger.
visually,
Okay.
maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's like a lot of what you read is his own recollection and self-reflection, right?
Right.
How do you self-reflect in a movie? And that was another thing I talked about with my brother is like, do you have inner dialogue? How do you, or do you not have inner dialogue in the movie? What would you want,
Probably inner dialogue.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to just watch Ryan on the screen talking to himself without even saying a word. And that's that on me.
And that's that. Let's talk about one other character, and then because
Strats.
like you keep talking about this book, but Strat. Let's go.
Yeah. So I liked her.
I love her. She's my favorite. She's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
And
Oh, she's real?
no, well, I mean,
it's like, wait a second. Is there something I need to know?
no, she's realistic.
real.
Yeah, she's real. You were talking about her perspective of like humanity and like we've always been suffering, like to bring it back to Hungry Ghosts, you know?
Yeah. No, I just loved she was no nonsense. She had all the power. She was like, yeah, people are going to say I abused it, but no, I'm just saving humanity. I didn't find any scenarios where, I mean, granted, the whole climate change exploding the glaciers thing, you know, she had
Cool.
to make some really tough decisions, but like she said, they weren't that tough because it's this or nothing.
It was logical.
Yeah.
To her, she had to take emotion out of it because emotion did not belong in that conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's good because for those people whose hearts ache in those moments, and Andy allows you to ache in those moments,
Mhm.
she provides the other perspective where it's like it's survival.
Yeah.
So badass character of the week for me out of everything we've been
Ooh.
reading is Strat.
110% agree.
Yeah, and I will say this too. So hard not to see the character as the voice that the voice actor did.
Oh,
use.
yeah.
Like, I mean, you guys, if I wish the audible Strat could be the one that is in the movie.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, I don't like how she is in the movie.
Oh.
But once again, that was just a trailer. I just fell in love with the Strat in the book.
Yeah.
I just did.
I did too.
Like you said, no nonsense. She doesn't have that emotion in there.
Yeah.
She's humorous
Yeah.
and she's funny.
Yeah. It left like me wondering about her a lot. Like we got to know her pretty well. We spent some time with her. I mean, obviously Ryland is the one that we're actually in his head for, but I just like got to wondering about her, like what's going on with her 26 years later.
To be honest, that's the biggest reason why I wanted Ryland to go back is so that I could see her.
Oh,
I just wanted to
yeah.
know.
You know what? When you say it out loud, that's probably why. Because getting into the ending,
Here we
I
go.
wasn't that disappointed, but I was
Okay.
kind of like, and the reason was because like he wasn't going back to a significant other or a son or daughter he had left behind. He was just him.
And I think it was his character redemption and it allowed for that reflection of his cowardice, right? At that point, he has a chance. What's the easy way out? The easy way out is to just go on home. However, I think there was a third option and that's kind of what pissed me off a little bit. But that was his redeeming part. That was his Shakespearean moment, right? Where instead of choosing what you think he's going to choose or what you think he should choose or what Strat would have chosen, like he goes to try to save Rocky and Rocky's home planet.
I see, and it might just be because I know what happened, but like to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, honestly, the trip home seems kind of sketchy. I would way rather go over to Irid, learn about their technology, let them get me all set up, and then maybe try and go back to Earth.
Yeah, and I did think, okay, because the other one was what? You get Rocky and you take Rocky to Earth, and then you fuel up because he lives longer, and then you send Rocky back. But the truth is, look at the movie E.T.
I was literally going to say, even when they were talking about like, oh, maybe in like a few decades we'll, have some communication. And in my head, I'm just like, let's please leave the Irids alone.
Like, and they don't really talk about that conversation. However, I think Ryland was treated much kinder, right? Than I
True.
also think you could have just left it at the decision and no,
No
more
extra
information.
lead up to
Yeah,
this
it almost
whole
seemed
I'm
like
a teacher over here now.
Yeah, it almost seemed like an epilogue of sorts, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Could you do without? Did you like that? Did you like the ending, Ashley?
It was the least believable part of the book.
Agreed. But
It doesn't mean I didn't like it,
Yeah.
but it was the least believable part for sure.
least believable, I would say smiley face. The other thought that I had was you still had the Beatles, right? Okay, so basically if you've read it, there's only so much astrophage left. Okay. And we didn't even really say that the problem was astrophage.
Yeah,
but-
well, if you listened, you know.
Yeah,
and if you haven't listened, listen.
Yeah, exactly. So he could have sent the Beatles to Rocky's planet and then gone home, because if the Beatles made it to Rocky's planet with all the information,
They would have come looking for Rocky?
yeah, and Rocky was still going to be there, right?
Well, I don't know if Rocky would have survived that long.
Because then he was exposed to the
radiation.
Well, there you have it. All right. There it is. Well, he could have, then there's the ET concepts. So
Yeah.
maybe it was the best option.
Yeah. And it was, you could have just sent the Beatles and been like, okay, Rocky, one more sacrifice. But let's be honest, you know how we love to do this here. Ryland was in love with Rocky.
Yeah. It was his only friend.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
So overall,
Overall.
I love how you gave our badass character of the
Week.
year
Yeah.
to Strat. The audiobook got my best audiobook ever award.
Same.
The story is great. I'm really looking forward to the movie. Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up. Or like I said, read now, and then there's nothing to mess up. It's just an iteration of it, right?
Yeah, well,
It's
I'm
just
talking
like
straight to producers. Don't mess it up.
Yeah. So do some testing. before
Recast
you-
Strat because Katie says so.
I mean, yeah. Like my brother, there's this other actress. Anyway. Okay. So maybe I'm wrong. And if it's in there and you haven't released it yet, they do this karaoke scene in the trailer with Strat, and that's not Strat. Strat is not a romantic. Strat is not in love with
Wait,
Ryland.
Strat is singing karaoke?
Oh my gosh, watch the trailer.
Are you
and
sure it's
hit
not
me
the
back.
Russian astronaut?
Oh, no. I think
no.
I know. Don't romanticize that, you guys. Keep it good. Keep her strong, please.
Okay, that's enough on that. What are you reading next?
Okay, what am I reading next? All right, so last pod I talked about how Chelsea Devontis' book was stuck in my head and how I love experiencing life through other lenses.
Yes.
And so here it is.
Here it is.
Just Kids by Patti Smith.
Woo.
All right, so let me do a quick little lead in. Patti Smith. Oh, wait. Here we go. No, yeah. Here, I'll do this. Patti Smith is a writer, performer, and visual artist. She gained recognition in the 1970s for her revolutionary emergence of poetry and rock. Her seminal album, Horses, bearing Robert Mapplethorpe's renowned photograph, has been hailed as one of the top 100 albums of all time.
Wow.
She has recorded 12 albums. Smith had her first exhibit of drawings at the Gotham Book Mart in 1973 and has been represented by the Robert Miller Gallery since 1978. Her books include Wit, Babel, Wool Gathering, The Coral Sea, and Auguries of Innocence. In 2005, the French Ministry of Culture awarded Smith the prestigious title of Commander des Arts et des Lettres. So, like, Commander of Arts and Letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. The highest honor awarded to an artist by the French Republic. I apologize. I don't speak French. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in
Badass.
2007. Smith married the late Fred Sonic Smith in Detroit in 1980. They had a son, Jackson, and a daughter, Jessie. Smith resides in New York City. So just for reference, Fred Sonic Smith was one of the guitarists of MC5, who has the very famous song Kick Out the Jams. So she was very much around in the punk rock scene. She was very much a staple of the punk rock scene, rock and roll, which you might not think this song is very rock and roll, but it's Because the Night. You know that song?
I don't know. I'd have to hear.
Okay, so check it out. Belongs to lovers.
Oh, yeah.
Because the night. Okay, so that's one of her most famous songs. But she's this amazing poet, artist, and she is writing about her times in late 60s, but specifically the 1970s, I should say. And it's a look into her life. And I'm going to tag team this with the Audible because she actually narrates it, which is a unique experience. But I wanted to hear what it was like firsthand for her, you know, in that emergence of punk rock scene, especially because she's so artistic and she is a poet. The writing's got to be beautiful. And this was recommended to me, actually.
Yeah, that sounds really, really good. I can't wait to learn more about Patti Smith.
Patti Smith, rock and roll, like seriously. So, and like I said, because she's a poet, it should be a beautiful read.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, great. There's going to be a theme, folks, because, well, I'll talk about what I'm going to read really quick and then we'll share the shared. I'm going to stick with the theme of memoir, autobiography, and also female musician. I actually read not quite the first chapter, but the first section of High on Arrival. This is the title. Jot this down. High on Arrival by Mackenzie Phillips.
Who is that?
Several years ago. Now, she is the daughter of John Phillips, who is the lead male vocal in the group Mamas and the Papas. The
Amazing.
Mamas and the Papas, Mamas and Papas.
Yeah.
I think it's the. So anyway, which were a super popular, I think at the time, musical group.
100%.
I think towards the end of the 60s and then early 70s. Don't quote me on that because I haven't read the book yet. But around that time. I mean, it's like hippie era stuff.
Cool.
So I do recall, just as a warning to everybody, High on Arrival by Mackenzie Phillips is a dark tale because her story is super dark. She also narrates her own audiobook, so I might dabble with that as well. But just be warned that if you do, just read the back because she's going to talk about some severe drug abuse as well as, I believe, sexual abuse.
Okay. Well, I do anticipate a lot of drugs in this one too.
Yeah. And I want to say this is like inner family sexual abuse. So we're going to be talking about some really dark stuff. Just keep that in mind. If it's not for you, skip it. We're also going to read a shared memoir.
And my book comes tomorrow. So we're going to hold up a picture. Wildflower, Drew Barrymore.
Beautiful.
Drew Barrymore. Okay, so Ashley, I know I proposed this one.
I mean, first of all, we're talking about E.T.
Yes. Okay, I grew up with Drew Barrymore, and she was kind of like this. To me, she was like a hero. Like I just love. She's a light in my eyes. I see her as a light. She's, outwardly a very optimistic person. She seems genuine and friendly and kind. And growing up, I wasn't told too much about her life, obviously, because there was a lot that she experienced.
A lot more dark stuff.
And as I became older, like hearing about that and looking at how she presents herself to the world is really remarkable. So I really want to know more about her. She wrote this book for herself after her daughters were born. And I listened to the beginning excerpt off of Audible. She also narrates it herself. Sorry, I'm holding up Just Kids, but we're talking about Wildflower. And and her voice is just so lovely. It's so great, and she's very much, I feel, dedicated to sharing her story how she wants to share her story.
Okay.
Like it feels authentic.
Okay, good. And I was even, we'll find out, but I'm like, how far is she going to go when she talks about some of that childhood stuff? I'd be really interested to see. I'm sure she does it really gracefully if she wrote this for her daughters to get to know her story, but it sounds like a really interesting read. I'm glad we're sticking on theme. We're going to learn about 3 badass women.
And that's what it is. Honestly, I just wanted to jump into more badassness. Badasses, yeah.
So that sounds really good. But just Drew in general. It's like Never Been Kissed, Charlie's Angels. So many movies. And that's just a small, maybe a good sized portion of her life, but she's a lot more than an actress too. I feel like she's lived like 20 lives.
And I want to know them all.
Yeah.
As much as we can. Like, and back to Chelsea's book, we said there's only so much that you don't understand someone from a few chapters that they write. But I'm looking forward to seeing what she wants to share.
Yeah.
You know?
Me too.
Amazing. Thanks for going on this ride with me, Ashley.
Well, it should be a fun one. It's going to be a busy week. And we will
I don't know how far we're going to get. I say
let's not make any promises.
We're not finishing this week, you guys.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I know mine, High on Arrival, isn't super long. I might be able to get through it. Maybe we'll aim for half of Wildflower. We'll just see how we feel.
We'll let them know. Yeah, and it's also super hot. I think we've said that. And so, it's great to stay in and read, but your kids going to school and...
Oh, my gosh. We've got some big stuff coming up.
Big stuff coming up, guys. Amazing. So, thanks for joining us, as always.
Yeah, thanks, baddies.
And
we'll see you soon.
Yeah, go read Project Hail Mary.
Oh, yeah, please. Or listen.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.